In the last few years, we've seen censorship on the internet taken to new extremes. Tech giants Facebook and Twitter have grown into behemoths that control nearly all of the public discourse on the internet. The fervor for social media censorship has existed on some level for a while, but it really was the Twitter ban of Donald Trump, coupled with the mass censorship of QAnon-related accounts that shifted it into high gear. With a flip of a switch, the levee protecting us from a flood of censorship on those sites was just broken. People became louder and more ardent in their calls for censorship, and the general mood of the mainstream has become frenzied in their excitement for just banishing people and ideas they simply don't like. While the push for censorship overall has been spurred on by Marxist ideas, they are quick to switch the narrative when they want to win the public relations battle. The most popular talking point in response to censorship on social media is disguised as pro-capitalist. Basically just saying that these are private companies making business decisions and they can do whatever they want, really. But censorship is a bigger issue than just those companies which decide it. It's the broader mood of a culture that determines how it impacts each person. As the mood of the mainstream focuses more on issues of safety from hate and this obsession with politically correct truth, things like freedom and individuality are just forgotten, not even mentioned. Another popular refrain from the pro-censorship contingent is this has no broader implications and that people are still free to do what they want. They're just not allowed to do it on these specific platforms. We know this is a lie, and they're being fairly obvious about it with their wording. They are no longer just interested in protecting people on Facebook or Twitter, but ridding the world of so-called hate and misinformation. Nebulous terms which can be molded into a number of expressions. Their crusade isn't against what people are subjected to on popular media sites, but what is happening literally everywhere, even inside your head. They're looking way past government intervention at this point. They know they can't achieve everything that way. And the fact that there's people that actually think this way, and very passionately think this way, it's the biggest threat to freedom in this country.
Welcome to Unfiltered. I'm SC Cupp. When it comes to social media, we truly have a love-hate relationship. We love our favorite platforms, and there are now dozens. And thanks to our modern-day love affair, social media's influence and saturation have grown exponentially. But complaining about it has become a pastime too. And for good reason. It can be a vile and ugly place. Nowadays, your chances of being harassed or even threatened on social media feel pretty high no matter how low your profile. And fears of going viral for all the wrong reasons lurk around every tweet.
This is a ridiculous overstatement. I'm sorry, but never before has it been so easy to get content removed from platforms. Never before has it been so easy to get people kicked off these sites. And never before have we seen the efforts from these companies to pander to every complaint on the platform. If you're going to argue that this highly regulated social media environment is somehow more dangerous and more extreme than it was in the past, you're twisting history and lying. And people's biggest fear is going viral on Twitter? What does that even mean? Why are you afraid of that? Don't tweet that. Don't say stupid things and people won't think you're stupid. Have some conviction in your ideas instead of being terrified of going viral. Grow up. The world is a crazy place and the internet is not your personal safe space.
We hate social media as much as we love it, but hate has also found a home there. Whether it's violent extremism, white supremacy, anti-Semitism, dangerous disinformation, all have exploited the reach of social media to advance their ugly causes. Not surprisingly, we've tried to combat that. It seems like every other month there's another big tech hearing in Washington where Congress probes the leaders of our favorite platforms for what they can do to clamp down on hate and disinformation.
This is the big thing. They're not censoring, see? They are getting rid of hate and misinformation wherever they find it. Sounds a lot like our war on terror, which was used to institute policy which robbed every American of freedoms they once had. Terror sounds an awful lot like the way they describe hate, and pardon me for being skeptical that power won't be abused and threaten all our rights.
On Wednesday, a new report from the Department of Homeland Security made it alarmingly clear hate will find a way. It already is. According to the confidential memo, violent anti-government extremists are finding workarounds to adjust to social media crackdowns. Some MVEs or militia violent extremists are simply disguising their online social media while continuing to promote violent ideology, recruit others, and share tactical information. They've shifted to a layered strategy, starting off with friendly, casual conversations on popular platforms, and then shifting to smaller platforms and eventually secure and encrypted applications. The report warns that these countermeasures taken by MVEs will hinder the efforts by social media platforms to sideline them. In other words, deplatforming won't solve the problem.
So, people talking is basically your problem. You want to prevent people from conversing on encrypted apps? Is that it? Basically, she's describing like-minded people finding each other on the internet and progressing to being friendly enough to talk privately. So that's a problem now in this Orwellian censorship state. But since she slips in the word hateful and extremist, then it's okay. Then we need to stop all communications. And since when does the media just blindly listen to government reports? I know it's been going on a while, but stop. You're supposed to be critical of the sources you receive information from. Not act like they're loudspeaker, not take one source and say, true story. You've taken this vague memo and just repeated it like it's fact. Nobody trusts the media because they just disseminate government propaganda constantly as if it has anything to tell us.
Speaking of which, the collective relief heard around the world when former President Trump was eventually deplatformed from Twitter and Facebook was audible. Good riddance, many said. Finally, we can move on.
Collective relief? The way she just editorializes factual stuff is just insane. And this is what their bubble looks like. You're just spouting off things your side believes and thinking it's the entire country. Maybe instead you should say one side was very relieved, or a lot of people were very relieved. But literally half of the country was out of their mind about Trump being deplatformed because they knew what it meant for censorship on the internet. They weren't relieved, they were terrified.
That was always a fallacy. Trump has not gone away. He's just no longer got an intercom in your house.
He never had an intercom in your house. It's a public platform and you're free to block him if you want. In fact, just don't go on Twitter at all. Don't read it. Go pay attention to something else. The problem is Trump derangement syndrome is so strong in these people that they literally couldn't look away. They craved being victimized and they loved getting mad at everything he said. It was their sick way of being entertained.
Now he's looking to solve that problem by launching his own social media platform. So for inquiring minds and supportive parties, he will likely be back with a place for them to converge, to listen to more of his lies, to froth over his conspiracy theories, and maybe even try overturning the government again. Who knows?
Oh no. God forbid the former president be on a social media platform. Help us all from the words of Donald Trump, who must not be allowed to speak in public anywhere, at any time, ever again.
Now, I'm supportive of Twitter and Facebook's decisions to kick Trump off for violating their terms. They're private companies. He was abusing their platforms. But the problem doesn't go away simply because we can't hear it or see it anymore.
That right there is dangerous. The problem doesn't go away if we don't hear it or see it. Why not? Isn't the whole problem you don't like hearing this stuff? That's why you're getting rid of it? No, that was never the problem. The problem has always been your fanatical obsession with punishing the people who don't agree with you. This has always been about the need to control what other people talk about because you don't like it. And as long as people are talking about things you don't like, you're going to try to stop them, even in their own homes. Even private conversations on encrypted apps. They are coming for what you think in your head. And they don't really care to fuss about the details of this or that. Hate and misinformation are a Trojan horse to getting rid of whatever they want.
And the problem isn't Facebook or Twitter. It's hate. It's white supremacy, bigotry, racism, xenophobia, and all kinds of extremism.
It just goes on and on. They keep repeating these phrases because they're manipulating the people that watch this. Keep saying it enough and people believe it. It's ridiculous.
Now that's harder to solve than simply ban. We have to look at the cause. What is attracting people to these violent movements in the first place? According to an abundance of research, it's not social media. It's childhood trauma, poverty, isolation, mental health issues, substance abuse, and other psychological and environmental factors. Attracting the vulnerable to violent extremism doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen with a single tweet. Like so many problems we're facing now, we choose to look at superficial solutions instead of root causes.
No. The problem is you. The biggest divider of the people in this country is the media. It's not all this other crap. It's you. It's you saying your unbiased news and then feeding hate and division into people's eyeballs every single day. It's repeating lies and twisting facts to suit your agenda. The media is causing this.
Preventing another mass shooting isn't just about another new law. It's looking deeper at our failing mental health system. Preventing another George Floyd isn't just about holding one police officer accountable. It's looking deeper at our failing criminal justice system. Preventing more voter suppression isn't just about stopping one new law in Georgia. It's looking deeper at the racism inside the Republican Party.
Stop slipping partisan issues into the middle of your spiel. Show me on the doll where voter suppression hurt you. Like, how do you look at yourself in the mirror when you just haphazardly label an entire party racist because of a completely reasonable state voting bill? Literally everything you disagree with is racist. That's why nobody believes you when you say you want to stop hate, because you literally call everything racist. You call everything hate. Censorship has no goals, except to continue deplatforming content those in power disagree with. Gone are the days you can just say what you believe, because those things you believe might be considered hateful, or they might influence someone else to be hateful. No proof needed, no evidence, just memos from the government, and all the media does is repeat it like fact. We are living in an Orwellian time, and they will continue to move the goalposts as they continue to rack up victories. The war against hate is here, and it's designed to destroy everything that goes against the mainstream other than hate. Because if you get rid of the hate, then there's nothing to use for power. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe to Exhibit Media and check out some of our other videos. This has been Exhibit Media, signing out.